researchers at UCLA have begun clinical trials on terminally ill patients. And what they're doing is they're using hallucinogenic drugs to see whether or not those drugs handle their anxiety. So basically their transition into death becomes a little easier, okay?
Well, it's a logical experiment to do, and I'm surprised they haven't done it so long, and they haven't because it was made illegal, etc.
Right.
And obviously very curious about the results.
Right. So what they used is a drug known as psilocybin, and it has components that are found in shrooms. Okay, so magic mushrooms. And what they did is they tested these drugs on 12 patients who were terminally ill. 10 of them have died since this study. And what they found is their anxiety was lowered by 30%.
Okay, I want to be clear. They didn't die because of the shrooms.
No, they died because of their illness,
okay.
obviously, yeah.
Right. And it turns out the magic shrooms totally helped them.
Right.
With very little side effects. And that they were almost all of them were very pleased by it. The averages were fantastic. And now people are thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe we should do a couple more experiments with that. And in fact, like they were doing experiments with this stuff medically 35 years ago. And then once it was made illegal, they stopped, which then drives me crazy. You know, this whole making drugs illegal and, you know, making it forbidden and, you know, oh my God, you can't touch it, it's toxic. Come to find out, hey, if you do a little science, maybe it's not as toxic as you think. And it depends on the drug.
Right.
And it depends on the context, too. I'm not telling you to go do shrooms right now. And honestly, I don't even know what shrooms does. I'm not a guy who's taken a lot of drugs. I don't know. Like, I couldn't tell you the difference between magic and non-magic shrooms. Okay. They mentioned LSD later in the article, and I got confused. I'm like, wait, is it the same thing, different things? Okay.
I love that you're mentioning this because we got an email from a listener who's like, can you guys do a little research before you cover drug-related stories? It's sad.
Like, what kind of research do you want me to do? You want me to go, like,
try
light up?
a little shrooms, a little LSD.
Okay,
No.
we know what's in the story.
Right.
But, by the way, what do you even do with shrooms? Do you smoke them?
You eat them.
You eat them.
You eat them, and what they do is they're a hallucinogenic. So you start, seeing pink elephants and things like that.
That sounds fun.
You go into a different world. Except there are downfalls to shrooms, and not in these medical or clinical trials. There was a story that we never did on the show about a wrestler who took shrooms with his friend, and there was a girl there, and apparently they were all tripping out on the shrooms, and he killed his friend and then cooked some of his organs on the stove.
Okay.
So there are
shrooms are now
downfalls to
out.
shrooms.
Okay, they're back on the ban list. All right, listen. Obviously, look, I'm very pro legalizing drugs, right? I'm very clear on this record, right? Doesn't mean I'm in favor of doing drugs. That's a whole different thing, right? And here they're doing clinical trials with the right dosage and with doctors that know what they're doing. If you think you take this report and like, oh, shrooms must be good. Okay, let's cook up whatever I bought off the streets. That's not a good idea. And that's part of the reason I want to legalize it too, because we can figure out, hey, look, this is safe, this is the right dosage, and this is the dosage at which you kill and cook your friend, right?
Yeah.
So that's how legalizing would help as well.
I got to get the name of that guy because that was a really interesting story.
Yeah. And look, now it turns out that they might be able to use this with patients who are in a lot of pain, who not just terminal patients, etc. And look, 10 of those people died. And before they died, their pain was significantly eased because of this. That's fantastic. And if the government comes and tells me, no, you can't do something that we know is going to ease your pain and your stress and your depression and all that stuff because we find it immoral. Oh, suck it in the biggest way. Oh, okay, I'll pay the fine after I'm dead. Okay? No, you tell me I got terminal cancer and I can't go do shrooms if a doctor thinks it makes sense, or I can't smoke marijuana, piss off. Okay, and if you're any kind of serious libertarian or actually a conservative who believes in the idea of freedom and liberty, you should be totally in that camp. And liberals are in that camp. We should all be in that camp. Except, of course, unfortunately, a lot of this country is misled and hence not in that camp. Now, I don't want to sound too conspiratorial, but the alcohol monopoly must be maintained.